Welcome everybody to a look at the first film in the Critters box set, which is just behind me, which was released by Arrow Video earlier this month. Oh, late November, I think it was actually. The first film is from 1986 and is simply titled Critters. It's directed by Stephen Herrick, who I've only seen one film from before, though he has done a few notable films. But the only one I've actually seen is a 1996 version of 101 Dalmatians. But he also did the remake of The Three Musketeers from 1993, as well as the first Bill and Ted film, as well as the first Mighty Ducks film as well. So obviously went on to much bigger films than this, but even though this only cost $3 million, it made around 13 million at the US box office. So a tidy return, and it is a science fiction comedy horror film clocking in at 86 minutes long. Stars the likes of Dee Wallace, who was also in the likes of E.T. the Extraterrestrial, but she was most well known for other horror films like The Hills of Eyes, The Frighteners, The Howling, and Cujo. Also stars Emmett Walsh, who is a well-renowned character actor. You might well not know his name, but you'll certainly know his voice or the way he looks. And I've seen him in 20 other films in the likes of Blade Runner, The Iron Giant, Harry and the Hendersons, and Knives Out. Quite a wide range of films there. Also stars Billy Green Bush, who was in The Hitcher, and you've got supporting roles from likes of Billy Zane and Lynn Shay. So carnivorous aliens arrive unannounced at a Kansas family farm. Two intergalactic bounty hunters soon follow, determined to blow them off the planet, which they do with reckless abandon, to be honest, because they pretty much destroy even more than what the actual aliens themselves are doing. But yeah, overall, I found myself enjoying this slightly more than I did originally, as I came to realize that the comparison to Gremlins, though on the surface that might hold weight, little creatures that get up to mischief, it ultimately does not. It is ultimately not a comparison that stands up to scrutiny, given the critters are of a different origin and way more violent. That said, this isn't anywhere nearly as good as Gremlins, just like the other knockoff Ghoulies, although I prefer this to Ghoulies in a million different ways, quite frankly. As it was only really entertaining in the second half of the film, which is despite some impressive effects in the space scenes in the opening and a decent start overall. Yeah, certainly looks like a film that is more in higher production than $3 million. Um, Especially with all the space scenes and the sets and such. It looks a lot higher in value than the $3 million would initially, you know, make you think. Although it is a higher production film than the first Nightmare on Elm Street, which only came out a couple of years prior. But thankfully, when this does kick into gear, it is properly entertaining due to the effective mix of violence, humour, and action. The critters also look really rather good. The cast is solid, it is well paced, the score is decent, and it is generally engrossing. So, yeah, the practical effects for this are really, really, really good. The puppeteering work, especially when it comes to the critters, which obviously would take a lot of work, and in fact, just for one scene which involves a critter ingesting a cherry bomb, it took a lot of work just to get the mouth and the stomach exploding and expanding, and just to do that one scene, it took several people and quite a lot of work. So yeah, definitely a lot of work in terms of the practical effects, and the cast are good, which helps with the somewhat slower start. But when all of the action, humor, and violence start to kick in and work in tandem together, it is a really rather entertaining effort. But yeah, by no means a classic like Gremlins, but I guess they were never trying to be as good as that. But it's nowhere near as much of a knockoff as say as Ghoulies, which I didn't really like at all. So yeah, overall a solid 3.5 out of 5. Slightly higher than what I gave it originally, which was a 3 out of 5. But yeah, definitely found myself enjoying this a lot more this time around. So that is the disc. So I've shown off the reversible new artwork and the poster with the both artworks on either side already in my unboxing. So go to there to see about all of that. But in terms of extras, we've got a high definition Blu-ray presentation. The sound quality and picture quality are all fine. There's no issues at all. You got the original lossless stereo 2.0 and 5.1 audio options. You got optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. Then you got brand new audio commentary by film critics Matty Brudericks and Dave Wayne with screenwriter Shane Bitterling. Then you got archive audio commentary with producer Barry Opper and star Don Hopper. Then you got archival audio commentary with critter designers Charles Chiodo, Edward Chiodo, and Stephen Chiodo, the Chiodo brothers, well known for their practical effects work in the 80s. Then you got They Bite, The Making of Critters, an archival feature-length documentary. Then you got For Brian, a tribute to screenwriter Brian Dominic Muir, which is an archive featurette. Then you got behind the scenes footage, alternate ending, which isn't massively alternate ending to be honest. It just doesn't include the rebuilding of a certain building at the end, but it's not a massively different ending to be honest. Then you got theatrical trailer, TV spots, and image gallery. So yeah, a fair decent amount of extras on the disc there. Like I said, I've only seen the alternate ending, but I imagine the other extras are perfectly enjoyable to watch. And yeah, a fairly solid start to this series. So here's hoping the rest of the films at least try to live up to this effort. Obviously, there is the risk of it getting into more exploitation or the budget decreasing by a massive amount and therefore looking a lot cheaper. But I'm living in hope that at least the other ones will at least be entertaining, even if they're not quite as good as this one. But who knows? Maybe they're even better. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.